I recently came across a first layer project that is actually a Solana fork and hasn't pumped yet. What's up, my name is Caroline and this is Wealth in Progress, where you'll learn how to make passive income with cryptocurrencies. In this video we'll look at a Solana fork called Velas Chain. Now this is another first layer project and therefore an Ethereum competitor. So today we'll look at what it is exactly, plus we'll look at some price predictions to see where this still could go next. Now if you'd like to see my whole portfolio and all my trades, whatever I'm buying and selling, then the DeFi Academy is for you. If you consider joining, then go down in the description and subscribe to my newsletter, then you'll get all the information about how you can join us in the DeFi Academy today. Alright, let's get started. Now as always, this is no financial advice. I could be totally wrong about Velas Chain, I could be totally wrong about the price prediction, so always do your own research and only invest money that you can afford to lose. Now, Velas Chain actually first caught my eye because of Velas Pad. Now, that recently launched on Tron Pad among others. You can see that was this one. And since its launch, that did over 170x to the all-time high. Alright, so what is Velas? Now, if we go to their homepage, you can see what they write here. We have the fastest EVM chain to compete with Ethereum 2.0. So, Velas is actually a Solana fork, and that means they have an embedded EVM integration. So what that means is that projects that run on Ethereum can also run on Velas Chain. Now if you scroll down here, you can see that it's not only EVM compatible, but it's also very fast. So you can see that they can run with up to 75k TPS, so that's transactions per second. Now that is much higher than, for instance, Bitcoin that can probably has a TPS of about 5 to 15, and even Ethereum only has a TPS of about 200, so that's much higher. Now if we take a look at their white paper, there's actually a very nice comparison here. So of course they only compare themselves with projects that are not as fast or as cheap at the moment than Velas, but it's still interesting to see. So what I've mentioned earlier, they have more than a 50,000 TPS, actually 75,000 right now. What's also very nice is that they're very cheap, so that's 0.001 cent, so nothing really. Also transaction finality, that's also an important part. That means so TPS is how many transactions can be processed per second, but then the finality means how long it takes for one transaction to be actually gone through the whole system, and that's also very fast. And the consensus mechanism is a different kind of proof of stake, so you can also stake your Velas. We'll get to that in a minute. So what I mentioned earlier, for Ethereum the TPS is only about 17 at the moment. It's extremely cheap, so it's usually right now it's probably more in the range of 100, especially for NFT, so much more expensive. Also, finality is much slower. And then they compare to a couple of others. What's interesting is they also have Cardano in here. It's true Cardano doesn't have a very high TPS at the moment, but when Hydra comes on, Cardano will be scalable until up to 1 million transactions per second. If you want to learn more about that, I've got a video linked on top of my head just about that. Also, the finality is a bit slower, but that's mainly because Cardano is much more decentralized. We'll get into that in a second. Now, while we're in the white paper, let's look at that aid proof of stake, because that's a very interesting concept. So I'll quickly read through that. So it says here, currently there is a dilemma in the industry, how to make blockchain both secure and scalable. Therefore, we are working to add an AI module as an additional layer to prevent known attacks by slowing down the blockchain when an attack in the system is in progress and accelerating the system when there is no malicious behavior in the network. To achieve the optimal balance of speed, throughput, and security, Velas will implement a novel consensus system known as aid proof of stake, which will use machine learning to automatically adapt the Velas blockchain to changing circumstances, ensuring maximum performance and resilience at all times. So that's a very interesting new concept that I haven't seen anywhere else so far. So they combine proof of stake with AI, and the AI will automatically detect if something malicious is going on and will therefore adapt the system. Now, staking is another interesting part of that aid POS that works a bit differently from other chains, so I'll quickly go through that in the white paper as well. So what is different is that they have certain requirements for people to become a staker, either a validator or even a delegated staker. So if you want to become a validator, you would have to have at least 1 million VLX tokens, and if you want to become a delegator, which is what you and I would do generally, you'd have to have at least 10,000 VLX tokens. So at the current prices, it's currently sitting at 15 cents. If we calculate that 1.5 times that would be $1,500. So not too much, but it's still a bit of a downside because you have to have that requirement and you can't just go in and stake $100, for instance, which you could totally do with Cardano or with many of the other proof of stake blockchains. Now that actually brings me to the downside, and that is that Velas is fairly centralized at the moment. If we go back to their website, you can actually see here that they currently have 50 nodes and 42 validators. So 42 validators is an extremely low number and generally goes more into the direction of centralization. So that would have to change in the long run for sure for this blockchain to be successful on all ends, for it to be scalable but also secure and decentralized. So this is the blockchain trilemma, and if they want to solve that, they definitely have to become more decentralized. Now this could probably grow once the interest in the ecosystem, or once the ecosystem on Velas grows. It's currently so that actually brings me to my next point, which is that Velas ecosystem is currently non-existent. That is actually a good thing because that means you can get in early. Now they'd like to change that, which is why they've recently launched their 5 million funding program. So they actually want to provide 5 million and pump it into their ecosystem for developers or projects that want to build on Velas to actually grow the system. And that is also where Velas Pad comes in as well, because Velas Pad is a launch pad, and that means that new projects can launch their IDO. Now what has happened so far with projects that actually pump a certain amount of money into their ecosystem is that it has been exploding. So Polygon Matic, it has been the prime example for that. That has gone parabolic after they pumped in a certain amount of money into their ecosystem, and this could totally happen for Velas as well. So usually if a dApp launches on top of a base layer, they need the base layer coin in order to operate everything. So that increases demand for that, and with also a lot of coins being staked, that also reduces the availability. Now, as mentioned earlier, you can also stake your Velas and get about 7% per year. Now, I'm not going to go into detail into that in this video. If you'd like to see a full tutorial about that, leave a comment down below and I'm happy to do that as well. And what we're going to do now though is look at a bit of a price prediction. So what we're going to do is that we're going to compare it to Solana because it's a Solana fork. So we're going to compare the market caps to see where this might go in the future. Now, of course, this is no guarantee. This is pure speculation and will probably only happen if the ecosystem really grows as expected. Alright, so it's now sitting at a market cap of 320 million, so that's relatively small, and you can see also the rank is 172. So let's quickly look at where Solana is sitting right now. So Solana is now sitting at 45 billion, and that's not even at its all-time high. So it went up to 100, I think almost $200. So that would be even a couple of billions more. But let's just calculate with that for simplicity's sake. Okay, let's do a quick calculation. So we divide 45 billion, we divide that by 321 million. Okay, so you can see that would be 140x, and that would only bring it to where Solana is sitting right now. So that's not even at its all-time high. So it's now at 15 cents. So let's look at where that would be if it reaches Solana's market cap. So we multiply that by 15 cents. So that would bring it up to $21. So even if you just invested $1,000 right now, you can multiply that by 140. So that would bring it to $140,000. Pretty crazy stuff. Now, of course, it's pretty unlikely that this will happen in this bull run, considering that the bull run will probably only last a few more months. Of course, that could always change, cycles could always change, but if we assume that history repeats itself, that will continue for a few more months, and it's relatively unrealistic that it will pump so high so quickly. But even if it just does like a 20, 30 or 50x, that would already be very, very good. And if the ecosystem really grows as expected, and if there are a couple of ideas launching on Velas Pad, I could totally see something like that happening. Alright, that's it for this video. Again, let me know if you'd like a dedicated video about Velas staking, or if you have any questions, leave them down below. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you like this video, hit the like button down below, share with your friends, and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!